Markle shock, 3 reasons Meghan won't follow Kate's footsteps with Lindo wing birth. Meghan Markle is expected to give birth this month, and everyone's excited to see the new royal baby. But unlike previous royal babies, it is unlikely the first sighting of the newborn will be outside the Lindo wing, as Meghan will shun tradition. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, will reportedly choose a different path to her sister-in-law Kate, Duchess of Cambridge, and late mother-in-law, Princess Diana. The last 4 decades have seen royal women give birth in the Lindo wing of Paddington St Mary's Hospital. But it looks like Meghan has chosen otherwise. Why won't Meghan have the baby at the Lindo wing? There are a few likely reasons, revealed by The Sun this week. 1. The Sussexes have moved. Meghan and Prince Harry have relocated from London's Kensington Palace to their new family home in Windsor. The Sun source said, this child will not be born at the Lindo. The talk of all the senior clinicians there is that Meghan doesn't want to copy what Kate did. Harry and Meghan realize there is intense public interest, but this baby is not a direct heir to the throne and they want the birth to be as private as possible. 2. Meghan's a little anxious about the birth. This is Meghan and Harry's first baby, so it's to be expected that the Duchess will be a little nervous and want to be close to home. The source said, Meghan is nervous about complications such as an emergency cesarean and doesn't want the pressure of having to look immaculate on the hospital steps just hours later. Like any anxious first-time mom, she's worried about the birth itself. As she is over 35, she is considered a slightly older mom, which sometimes can lead to some complications. 3. The couple don't want to be photographed right after the birth. If you're a royal fan, or even if you're not, you'll probably remember the immaculate state of Kate just hours after all 3 of her deliveries. Makeup and hair perfectly done, she appeared beaming with Prince William on the steps of the Lindo wing and a little bundle in her arms. But Meghan isn't keen for this kind of scrutiny, and as their baby won't be a direct heir to the throne, and nor is Harry, there is less pressure on them to keep up public appearances. The Sun source said, Meghan also has the added stress of the world's attention on her. Everyone wants to catch the first glimpse of the new royal addition. She and Harry have decided that rather than go somewhere as public as the Lindo, they will allow Meghan to recover somewhere more private. Meghan is said to be favoring a holistic approach to preparing for motherhood, including yoga and meditation. Never one to particularly adhere to tradition, it was obvious from the get-go that Meghan Markle would be doing her pregnancy a little differently to the usual royal way. Seeing as she and Prince Harry share a love of gently bending the old rules a little, fans have spent the past few months speculating how Meghan might choose to break away from tradition with the birth of the royal baby. It was rumored that the Duchess, with an estimated due date of late April, had chosen to take a different direction to her sister-in-law, Kate Middleton, and her late mother-in-law, Princess Diana. Reports from the Daily Mail said that Meghan would opt against giving birth at the famed, royal family favorite Lindo wing at St Mary's Hospital. Or, its official name, that place where the Duchess of Cambridge stands outside to take photos with her newborn having just been through labor. Instead, it's been widely agreed that Meghan would probably opt for Frimley Park Hospital, a lesser-known option, closer to their new home of Frogmore Cottage in Windsor, and where Prince Edward's wife Sophie delivered both of her children. But, while it was commonly believed that the Duchess of Sussex had made an alternative decision, the latest reports suggest that actually, she might surprise us all by following in Kate's footsteps after all. There's one major hint at Meghan booking her spot at the Lindo wing, with a source telling The Telegraph, staff at the Lindo wing have been asked not to take holiday in April. Everyone thinks it's got something to do with the royal baby, but no one is confirming anything. It does seem a little suspicious that the reported ban on booking vacations just so happens to coincide with the royal baby's estimated due date. But, wherever Meghan and Harry choose to welcome their royal baby into the world, it's not long to wait now until we find out. For decades, royal babies have typically been born in one ultra-luxe maternity ward, the Lindo wing. It's where Princess Anne, Princess Diana, and Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge, all chose to deliver. But this time around, experts aren't so sure. Meghan Markle is only 3 or 4 months away from her due date, if we're reading the signs correctly, and we're still waiting to learn where she will give birth. Until they make an announcement, we don't know, royal correspondent Victoria Murphy tells TNC. Kensington Palace will reveal that information in due time, but in the meantime, we'll settle for reading the tea leaves. All expecting parents have a litany of pros and cons to weigh when choosing a hospital or a doctor, but with a royal pregnancy comes a slew of additional concerns. Privacy is perhaps chief among them, and keeping prying eyes away is no easy feat. What the palace officials have to take into consideration is the danger of disrupting day-to-day services of hospitals and maternity wards, Murphy explains. Rather than section off a portion of a standard hospital, it's far easier to preserve an existing private ward. Privacy is one of many advantages to the Lindo wing. A royal reporter, who wishes to remain anonymous, laid them out for TNC. Obviously the Lindo wing is unmatched when it comes to privacy, security and world-class medical care, the reporter explains. The wing has unmatched amenities and is probably the most luxurious hospital in the UK. Just how luxurious? Every room has a personal bathroom, specialist menus like you would receive in a hotel, massages, Wi-Fi, the reporter continues. The hospital has a large intensive care unit for complicated births. Most importantly, the Lindo wing has history of delivering a number of royal children, and a proven ability to successfully handle the press and public, while putting the royal family's privacy first, have given them the comfort level to return time and again. There are, however, reasons why the Lindo wing wouldn't be ideal for Harry and Meghan. After all, the royal couple will reportedly have moved from London to Windsor by Meghan's due date. According to ITV, the couple is planning to relocate to their newly renovated Frogmore Cottage home in March. One possible alternative is Frimley Park Hospital. It's another leading institution, located closer to Frogmore Cottage, and it, too, has royal benefits. Sophie, the Countess of Wessex's 2003 delivery of Lady Louise Windsor at Frimley Park distinguished the hospital, as she had a medical emergency during the birth, and the hospital quite literally saved her life and the life of her baby, the royal reporter says. Still, Frimley Park is far from a shoo-in. Even if Meghan and Harry do live in Windsor, a Lindo wing birth would still be feasible. According to Google Maps, it's only a 45-minute drive from their Windsor address. And though traffic would be a concern for us civilians, Harry and Meghan will have a police escort just like William and Kate did, the royal reporter explains. We're not talking huge differences in the distances here, Murphy says. And the royals have recently had 3 births there, and the logistics with the public and the media and everything have gone smoothly. So I feel that the Lindo wing would still be a very strong choice. Just this Friday, The Telegraph revealed a possible signal that the couple had decided on the Lindo wing. Staff at the Lindo wing have been asked not to take holiday in April, the source told The Telegraph. Everyone thinks it's got something to do with the royal baby, but no one is confirming anything. Another royal commentator, Duncan Larcombe, who has written a biography on Prince Harry, isn't so sure. I think it's almost certain now that she won't follow in her sister-in-law's footsteps and give birth at the Lindo wing, he told TNC. There are other private maternity hospitals or wards open to them, and there's no particular rule that says they have to have their baby there. Larcombe thinks Meghan could forego the storied hospital for a reason other than distance, her relationship with fellow Duchess Kate Middleton. It's another clue to the fact that Meghan clearly doesn't have the kind of relationship with Kate where she'll take her advice and she'll listen to her, he says. It's another sign perhaps that behind closed doors they're not as close as we might assume. Larcombe said that he would have expected the Duchess of Sussex to follow in the Duchess of Cambridge's footsteps. I find that a little bit surprising, because if you think about it, there's nobody else on the planet that can understand some of the pressures and stresses that Meghan has had to go through in the past year or so than Kate, because she's married into the same goldfish bowl. And I think that's a bit of a shame that they're not thick as thieves, frankly, because they're clearly not. There is one way to completely eliminate travel time, a home birth. Vanity Fair floated the idea back in November, but the consensus seems to be that while possible, It's unlikely. For years royal children were born at home, the royal reporter muses. Still, I think that's unlikely unless they just can't make it to the hospital, but it's certainly possible. Why not? It's 2019, Larkham says of a home birth. He went on to explain that in Meghan's case, it might not be all that different from an in-hospital delivery. For example, when they went on the royal tour to New Zealand and Australia in September or October last year, a physician went with them, he says. Obviously if she had a home birth, a team will arrive, and she'll be in safe hands. The royal reporter agrees on that front. There was a team of more than 20 medical personnel on hand for the Duchess of Cambridge, and I think you can expect something similar for Meghan and Harry's birth. Ultimately, wherever the royal couple decides to give birth, they'll be in good hands, and we can expect a photo op not long after. The last thing a woman who's just given birth wants to do is be photographed and have pictures of them used around the world, but unfortunately on that, Meghan hasn't got any choice, Larkham says. It's a royal baby, and the public will want to know what the baby looks like. It'll be easiest to face the scrum of cameras if Meghan has an easy birth. It's been reported that, on the advice of her mother, Meghan is planning on a natural birth. That seems to be a royal-approved option, as Kate has done so already. But Larkham urges us to take this with a grain of salt. I think what we have to remember with the royals is that they're just human beings, he says. Like many expectant mothers before her, Meghan probably would like to have a natural birth, and it would all be wonderful and over in a few minutes. But like an expectant mother, she won't be in control of that, her body will be. And just because she's going to give birth to a member of the royal family doesn't make that any different. She's just a human being. An expectant mother. And the baby will have its own say on how easy the birth is or how difficult. We'll see what the baby has to say in just a few months' time.